Hello, Mr. Charles. Welcome to Hump Day in at Keeneland. I don't know quite how to make that rhyme, but somewhere in there we could probably make that rhyme. Race tips for all Indian and international races. So we don't do Indian or international. We do some international races. We will do some on Friday, as a matter of fact, for international races. Thomas and I think we're going to do Newmarket. I think we're going to do Caulfield and Randwick on Friday. So we'll have a bunch of stuff. That'll be around 3:30 p.m. Eastern. I know that it seems like our connection's a little sticky. One of us is a little bit etchy, I guess, kind of coming in and out. I don't know if it's me or Charles, but if you can let us know in the comment section which one of us is a little bit etchy, we'd greatly appreciate that. Today, real quickly, before we get started, you want some picks, Salim? We have some picks today at Delaware Park. I know that a lot of folks overseas like to play Delaware Park. It is our free track of the day. There is a link in the description here on YouTube as well as on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you follow us. You can see down there, Horse Race, the number 2 day. Please use that link so they know where you are coming from, and you will see in the Parks track today, Fast Track, number 6, Doing It the Right Way is our top selection in race number 1 coming up. It's probably happened already, folks, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. So you can take a look at the rest of the picks. Our friends Sean and Jamie will return tonight on Horse Center at 8 p.m. with jockey Junior Alvarado. Great jockey. Be an excellent time to ask Junior a bunch of questions. You have access to the people on the actually on the field, in the game, so to speak. So if you have any questions for Junior, Jamie, or Sean, make sure you tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, today, pretty short card today, Charles, at Keeneland. Only 8 races on this Wednesday. What are your thoughts about the card?
It's a tough card. A lot of maidens. A lot of maidens.
Makes it kind of fun. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. A belly full of maidens. And you mentioned it's a maidens, but we're not getting a maiden in the first race. What are we doing here?
In the first race, we got a mile and a 16th, claiming price of $20,000. The purse is $44,000. This is for fillies and mares, 3-year-old and upward, which have never won 3 races.
Or 3-year-old fillies. I don't understand what that means in there at the end. It's just kind of like sitting on the end of the conditions there.
Yeah, I don't know.
No explanation. And a mile and a 16th, the Keeneland bias so far has favored early speed with 27% of the horses liking to get to the front and running straight into the winner's circle. There's a strong rail bias, so maybe Sicilian Grandma can benefit from that, the favorite there. 2 and 3, they play fair. 4 through 7, a little bit of a discount. 8 and out, bit of a bonus. So outside speed perhaps is the way. We do a lot of simulations around here, 1,000 of them using speed figures, looking for overlays. Here you want the sim odds to be lower than the morning line odds, preferably lower than the post time odds. And then we also do 1,000 simulations to see who has the best % chance to be on the lead at the quarter-mile marker, really important, particularly in sprints. And then C-zone, based upon the pace of this race, which horses are most likely to have a trip that mirrors their best performances. Charles, a lot of numbers in here. What do they tell you?
Well, that the 8 has got the best chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole at 58% chance. I believe that to be true. But the 1's going to have a say probably after the quarter pole. As long as this horse rates, it should be all right. Simulation odds, we have the 2 at 2 to 1. The morning line is 4.5 to 1. And we have the 8 itself just slightly over 2 to 1. And the morning line is 12 to 1.
All right. And then we have a very strong C-zone on that 2 horse, along with an overlay. Should have a pretty comfortable trip based upon where it wants to be. Looking at the race shape here, we do see that there aren't any horses that traditionally want to get to the front. That would be your E horses. There are your front runners. EP can pilot or co-pilot. Typically your Ps are co-pilots. They want to run second, third. They want to stalk the leaders. PCs are your pressure closer types, but can also move forward. Very versatile, probably the most versatile horses in all of racing. And then your closers, the 3 and the 4, the Ukraine flag right there. Those 2 would be closing. And here you got the NC's horses that have not been within 5 lengths of the winner at the finish line. And then, of course, your first-time starters. Those horses are going to debut. No debuters today. Looking at this race shape, Charles, pretty symmetrical race in here. I would guess that getting to the front would probably be an advantage. Rock the Nile, that 8-horse that we saw in the simulation, does have a good shot to get to the lead, but plenty of company from everybody but the 2 closers in there. Charles, do the 2 closers have a chance to make up that ground? They are the best in terms of total pace at the end, but not a big difference between the 1, 8, and for that matter, not too far from the 2 or the 6. They could be too far behind in the early part to put that to their advantage. Finally, looking at our total pace scenario, pretty competitive race it looks like between the 1, 8, and the 6. A little bit of drop off from there. Maybe the 7, Wildcat Dream, the only horse from a total pace perspective that might be over its head in here. Charles, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, this is interesting. I mean, I saw this past weekend that the speed was either your lone speed and you win, or you drop off if there's more than one speed in the race. So, with that being said, I like the 1 here. I think it's got the tactical speed. First, you got to toss out that turf at Kentucky Downs. Totally hated the track. Probably might even not like the turf that much. Tactical speed here. Got the rail at 24%. Third start after a layoff. Maker gets 19% with that angle. The 2-horse drops in class. Got some tactical speed. Second start after a layoff. And then the 6 won last time. Steve Ashmanson gets 19% first after the claim. Of course, this horse moves up, but this one will be closing at the end. And then the 8, the speed horse, probably most likely to be at the leader at the quarter pole. Ran even last time out, and it totally fits with this group. And I'm going to do a trifecta with all my horses and pretty much all my races today.
You have a $100 budget. That's what we do here. We spend it across the card. Terry made good use of his $100 yesterday. He had a nice double, nice pick of the day. They paid, I think, $13 or something like that. Put $8 on it. That horse came home and hit the double on the back end, and then he had to pick 4 for like $350. So, and I had a positive ROI as well. So it was a good day overall from Team Horse Racing today. Charles and I looking to repeat that effort today with our $100 budgets. I'm going to start with the 2-horse as my top selection in here. Lady with a Cause. This one's got a good chance to up her game in the second start off, a layoff. First start showed much better early fractions. So I think you'll see some improvement today. Big Java, the 6-horse. First up, off the claim for trainer Steve Asmussen for a horse that at Keeneland's run a couple of times, finished second. So we'll put it in second to third, 3 out of 3 in number 2. Thirdly, number 1, Sicilian Grandma does ride that strong rail. Major drop to the lowest level of its career. I think you'll see a pretty similar effort, or maybe an improved. Well, last one, it didn't run very well at all, but you'll see a much improved effort in the third start after layoff. Should rebound back to its normal form. Although the drop is kind of suspicious to me in here, to be honest with you, off of that poor performance last time out. And then number 8, Rock the Nile. This one was a little bit better last out, is our top total pace horse, and also one that has a good shot to get to the lead. I'm going to do a trifecta like you. I'm not going to box them all. I'm going to go 1, 2, 6 with the 1, 2, 6, with the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8 in my selections. Let's see what we got here. Melvin Torres, good morning. Nice of you to join us again. At pick 5, starting in race number 1, the 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to single up the 4. I think a lot of people are going to be heavy on that 4. It'll be the linchpin to a lot of vertical bets early on. 6, 8, 14, and then the 2, 5 to close it out in race number 5. If, like Melvin, you have some selections, whether it's at Parks, it's at Delaware, it's at Keeneland, whatever your favorite track is, please share them with us in the comment section. If you have any questions for Charles and I, and Charles does a lot of stuff outside of handicapping, goes to the sales, very familiar with the breeding and trading side of things. So if you have any questions in that respect, just put them in the comment section, and Charles will be more than glad to answer them. Ain't that right, Mr. Charles?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if you got any questions, you can ding them up at Big Casino Racing.
Oh, I love the maiden race. Yeah, big
race number 2. What are we doing
race
here?
Number 2. 7 7 furlongs. Maiden for purse is 70,000. This is for 2-year-olds. Simple as can be.
Mm-hmm. So, very simple. 7 furlongs. Our profile of the winner, in case those things are important to you. Tactical speed, but wire to wire not necessarily the best route. Only 1 of 15 have gone wire to wire, so pretty low. You probably want to be second, third, maybe fourth. Inside 3 post positions are fair. A little bit of a penalty in post 4 through 7. If you wear the pink 8, the turquoise 9 or above, the purple 10, the gray and red 11, anything at 8 plus, it's a major bonus, Charles. So you're looking for tactical speed, preferably on the outside in race number 2, but a bunch of first-time starters in here, Charles, so we can't really go to our simulations, even our race shape in race number 2. Yeah, you got the 2-horse showed a little bit of life in its career. 3 and a 4 wanted to close. The 1, 5, 6, 7, and 9, they haven't been within five lengths of the winner at the finish line. And then your first-time starters are the 8, 10, 11, and 12. Good old-fashioned handicapping here, Charles. What did your pen to paper pull out here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 6 here. This horse ran even last time out. They add the blinkers today, went 3 wide last time. Pratt's aboard. I think there's a lot of improvement here for this horse to be had. So I like this horse in this spot. The 2 has the speed. This horse ran second last time. Adds blinkers also. The trainer gets 18%. And then the 3 ran second last time. We'll be closing. You got the Hernandez McPeak combo there, which is a very good combo. And then the 11, first time starter. Dam has 6 wins from 9 starters. One of them's a stakes horse. You got the hot trainer Cherie DeVoe, and you got some solid, nice works with this horse. It's a nice pattern, so why not take a first time starter to mix it up? And I did a trifecta box again with all 4.
I'm gonna go with the 2-horse. We call them fun coupons. All right, I got that right. We call them fun coupons, the 2-horse in here. Did run the top last race speed figure by a decent margin. And if it makes any move forward in the second career start, probably makes easy work of this field. The 8-horse Silent Spectre, good breeding, as Charles mentioned. Mama makes winners. Trainer William Morey wins at 11% with first timers. A pretty decent number right there, especially for first timers. Getting works, good works, getting prepped for today, solid. With particularly one that stands out to me on August the 19th, 47-2 for 4 furlongs. Number 11.
And they're running in the first race, by the way.
They're what?
They're running in the first race already.
Oh, already? All right. Let's see what's happening in race number 1 then, Charles. Race 1. We'll go back to the rest of the picks. I've got the wrong button open. Hold on. All right, Keeneland. I don't have it open on my screen. Keeneland. It'd be tough to do because it's not showing up on my screen right now. Charles. Keeneland.
Okay, well, they're coming around the turn. The 1's got the lead about a length and a half. The 8's second. The 3's sitting third, making a run up the rail. And it's going to basically be those 3 horses in the mix. The 1's pulling away now in the stretch. He's probably got about a 4 lengths lead, maybe 3.5. And the 1's coming up on the rail for second. The 4's trying to make a big run on the outside. So it's going to be the 1 easy here. So it's just a fight for the second. And it looks like the 3 got second. The 4 got third. Can't tell who got fit.
It went 1, 3, 4?
1, 3, 4.
1, 3, 4. All right. Well, you got the 1 up top. I'm in the 3rd spot. Some of the other ones didn't fire there in that maiden race. 1, the 3 at 36-1. The 4 would have been a nice one to have in there for your trifecta for sure. But that's probably why my window didn't work there, Charles. Didn't want to show me all of my horses except the 3rd pick in there getting the W.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to finishing up our picks in race number 2. I had the, to mention the 2-horse, then the 8-horse. It was my second choice in there. I was all the way to number 3. If the 3-horse Stun Men makes the same move forward in race number 3 as the move forward from its debut to race number 2. Would be a major threat to win here. Pick 4 for me. I'm going to go to all 4 of them here: 2, 3, 8, and 11. With the 2, 4, with the 6, 8, 14, with the 2, the 5, and the 7 for my lone pick 4 of the day. Race number 3. I got that open on my screen now, so we won't miss any further races if we're still doing races when we're done. What's the conditions for race 3, Charles?
Race number 3 is 7 furlongs, allowance of 10,000, purse of 44. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never started for a claim price of 10,000 or less in the year 2022 and 2023.
7 furlongs. We'll see that in the second race, so pay attention to what you see there. But so far, Tactical Speedwood, only 1 out of 15 managing to get to the front and staying there. The inside 3 play fair. 4 through 7, a penalty. 8 and out, as we mentioned, are by far the best post positions to be in. So some tactical outside speed in race number 3, but the outside speed for the most part scratched.
Yep. Okay, so what we got here is the 2 at 23% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. But we have a couple other speed in there, but I think the 2 will have the lead at the quarter pole. But can the 2 hang on? When it comes to simulation odds, we have the 4 at just under even money, and we got 3-1 morning line. And that's about it.
And some strong C-zone scores in this. The race should be comfortable for most of the horses in here. So they should be pretty happy with their positioning. Looking at the race shape, we see here a triangle to the right. Although, well, triangle to the right, this shape usually favors horses with some early speed. Looking at the early speed, Shackleford, strong, the 10 horse, the PC type, a touch quicker than a few others in here. Should be pretty competitive early on out of the gates in here as they head to the quarter-mile marker. That could open the door for somebody who's up close that has some late speed. Does look like caramel chip. I don't know, depending on how you pronounce that word. That one has a little bit of an advantage over everybody else, likely to be involved early on. So could be sitting in that right stalker trip for the distance and surface, and also has a 5-point total pace edge over the rest of the field. Should be, you can see they kind of stagger their way down. So maybe the top 4 or 5 produces your exacta or trifecta, Charles, but I do think a lot of people are going to focus on that 4.
Yeah, the 4 is going to be the key in this race, I think. This horse won last time, second start after a layoff. This horse has got the tactical speed, could sit really close, like we just finished saying, and close very well. You have IRAD aboard, so what else do you want on this horse, I think? And then the 2 has the speed. The question is, can he hang on? Won last time out, but was well bet too last time out. So, but I think the 4 will catch him. The 3 has tactical speed, more on the closing side of it. Jockey upgrade totally fits with this group. And then the 7 horse is my price horse here. Ran second the last 2 times. Second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 13% with that angle. And this horse is another one with tactical speed, but I'm going to go with an ice cold exacta with a 4 on top of the 2.
I do think that 4 horse is going to garner a lot of attention in here, Charles. The last 10 races that this horse has run would be good enough to win at this level. Last time out showed some better early pace through the first half. And with addition to that improved early part, horse does usually have some stakes level late pace. You put those 2 together, it might live up to that 3 to 5, 4 to 5 odds. It might get bet lower than that. Number 2, like Salt Shaker, top last race speed figure, was 3 points better than the next closest horse, including the 4. The resume says that the 3rd race after a layoff is likely to be the best of the bunch and should like the fast going here, Charles. 9 times out, 5 wins in 3 seconds. That's a pretty good record when the dirt is fast. Casey's memory, the 3, as Charles and I basically mirror one another on the opening 3 picks. Strong closing numbers. could be closer to the pace than usual here and does have its best published work between races. And then finally, the 5-horse, we're talking about Charles. We're talking about my other co-host, Terry, here in One Cool Dude. It was a tough call for me over to 10, Shackelford Strong, but they're both essentially the same horse on paper. But the 5-horse is 1-for-1 at Keeneland, and its numbers were superior to Shackelford Strong. I'm going to do a superfecta. I think the 4 is going to win this race. 2-3 with the 2-3-5, with the 2-3-5, 10, and 12. I'll probably regret not having Junior Bug, the 7, in that mix. So maybe on the back end of years for a few extra bucks, toss in Charles' 7-horse. On to race 4 we go, about halfway to the 8-race card. Race number 4, Charles, you mentioned the day was loaded with maidens. Guess what we're going to do here?
It's a mile. It's a mile on turf, maiden for 100,000. This is for maiden fillies, 2-year-olds. Pretty simple.
I'm looking at the mile on turf. A mile on the turf, you're looking at tactical speed. Surprisingly, 42% of the time they go wire to wire. No horses won from the rail, so it'll be a mess for I'm a Mess to get the job done there. 2 and 3 have been the best performances. 4 and out, a big discount. So it looks like 2 and 3 is really the place to be. Not so sure that that'll work out today. But in race number 4, you're looking for some speed in here, Charles, because surprisingly, for a mile on the turf, 42% of the time they go wire to wire, and all that speed is on the inside.
Yeah, it's on. The 1 has the best chance at basically almost 35% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. But the 2 might have something to say with all that. Have some decent. It gets between those 2. Whoever breaks out the best of the thing can have the lead at the quarter pole. When it comes to simulation odds, I don't think we have. The 14. About 4 to 5, and the horse is morning line is 4.5 to 1.
And then as far as our C zone, the 10, the 11, and the 12, the outside horses, along with the 2, those grade out the best. So let's take a look at what our race shape looks like in race number 4. This 12 horse over there by itself is a lone E. Got a couple first-time starters here with the 3, 5, and 7 to be expected in the maiden races. The 1, 11, and 15 in their efforts so far, not all that close. A mess for It's a Mess. The 2 horse, a pressure horse. So maybe if the 2 or 12 can get to the front, they could have a tactical advantage in this race, especially going wire to wire. But it doesn't look like the 12 will be up there. Looks like the 2 has a shot with the 1 and the 6 putting some pressure on that one. So it could be tough for the 2 to clear the 1. When they're coming down the stretch for home, Torino, the 14 horse, does look like it has the most late speed, along with Fun Loving, the 10. And then our total picture shows like the 6 and the 14 well above the rest of the field in there. So maybe you have a 6-14 ice cold exacta or exacta box. Charles, what do you say?
No, I'm going away from those. I'm gonna stick with the 2 horse here. This horse ran 3rd last time out. Casey gets 15% with 46 plus days of rest. This horse, I think, more or less has the tactical speed, has Rosario board. The 1 is my second choice. Ran even last time. McPeak gets 32% second time on the turf. This horse drops in class. So I think those 2 are the top 2. The 8 is my third choice. Ran 3rd last time out. Got some tactical speed also. Walsh gets 21% second time on the turf. Tyler Gaffleon is aboard, so look out for that. And then the 6 is my final choice here. Ran even last time out. Totally bred for this. Trainer gets 20% for 46 plus days of rest. Totally fits with this group. So that's why, once again, I'm doing a try box on my bets.
I like the 14 in here, Charles, off its debut. If that horse has any improvement off of its debut, it makes her a winner, perhaps an easy winner Number 6, Colonial Rose. First trip on the grass for that one. Breeding is there, especially if there's any improvement in the third career start following a few months of rest. And usually these young ones, with some rest, they do develop a little bit more as they sleep in the barn and eat some hay, come out and run a little bit better than they did when they hit the break. Number 8, Pendulum. Debuted at Kentucky Downs. And have you said before, Charles, many times, horses either like that track or don't like that track. He seemed like it liked it, particularly at the end, was decently bet. The comment was the horse was moving willingly at 7 furlongs. Getting some extra runway today should be helpful. And then finally, number 12, Karina Nebula. Improved a little in her second start. A similar move forward here would be close enough to get the W in this race. I'm going to do an exact the key box with that 14 over the 6, the 8, and the 12. Now we're going to move on to race number 5 as we start to go through the back half of this card. Laden with maidens, but this one is not a maiden.
No, this is of 6 furlongs, claiming price of 40,000, non-winners of 2 life, purse is 52,000. This is for fillies, a 2-year-old, which have never won 2 races. So it's pretty simple on that. So that's where we're
Might as well be a maiden race, though, with 2-year-olds. 1-win 2-year-olds, right? It's about as close as you can get unless you have some stellar 2-year-olds in there. At 6 furlongs, typically you want to have some early speed. 1 out of 3 horses takes them from the gate straight into the winner's circle. The rail is fair for Wild About Hillary. 2 and 3 get a bit of a penalty. 4 through 7, they've performed the worst. 8 and out is a major bonus, Charles. So once again, we're looking for some speed, preferably on the outside in race number 5. And it looks like that is going to be where you find most of the speed today.
Yeah, well, we have, the 5 itself, 32% chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole. But like you said, the 8 and the 9 are going to have a say in all this. I think there's plenty of speed in here. So let's see how it turns out, especially when all this tough. When it comes to simulation odds, we have the 7. Look at that. Almost 2-1, 12-1 morning line. That's a nice overlay. And then the 9 at 7-1, and we have a 15-1 overlay.
It looks like, according to the simulation odds, it's a pretty wide open race in here, except for maybe that 7 horse. We'll see if that can hold up. 7 looking like a lone closer versus a bunch of other horses that either want the lead or want to pressure the lead. So that pace could equal a melt down or melt up, whichever way you want to call it, on the early speed. It might favor a horse coming off the pace at the end. Early speed-wise, you do see there is plenty of giddy up and go here. Although that 7 is a closer, might not be all that far off the pace. It looks like the 3 and the 10 could be your laggards at the quarter-mile marker. Late legs, that belongs to the 3 horse. Back on track, one of those late laggers, but he wants to be on the front. So you don't know how discouraged that one might be if it's looking at the backside of too many horses and the dirt kicking up in its face. 7 horse should be right there, that overlay. So you should get a stalking trip with a chance to close at the end. The 2 horse, Shy, Afterneath, and Adios Muchos. They're about 4 or 5 points better than the next 3. Wouldn't be shocked to see the winner come from one of those. Charles, who do you think is going to win?
Well, here is my long shot of the day. The 10 horse. Why I like this 10 horse, it did very well the last time I ran, just not that long ago. Rated right off the lead and really closed very well. And Alex Archer, the jockey, is an underrated jockey, I believe. He really rides very, very well. He just rides in Indiana and Kentucky only most of the time. So this horse won last time out, second start after off. So I'm going with a long shot here because this is not a very strong field, I believe. The 2 horse is my second pick here. This horse won last time, got some tactical speed. Trainer gets 23% when he takes him from turf to dirt. And then the 6 horse is my third choice. First, you got to toss out that last race. It was on turf. Probably most likely did not like it. Back on dirt today. Drops in class today. Trainer gets 29% with first time after the claim. And then the one horse drops in class today, has some of that tactical speed to sit real close, totally fits with this group. I'm going to do a 5 win in place on my long shot of the day, the 10. And then I'm doing a try box on all 4 horses.
I like the 7. You mentioned it's not the strongest field, and you got a long shot opportunity here. I agree with you on that sentiment, Charles. So I'm going to go with 7. Adios, muchachas. That strong overlay that should get a pretty solid trip in here. It raced at Canterbury Park, so this is in its debut. So this is a track upgrade for sure coming to Keeneland, but does have a pretty good Keeneland dirt work since arriving at the Kentucky track. And just, I think, based upon the fact that the horse only has 1 race under its belt, has the most room, I think, for improvement today. Intermittent, fast. A lot of folks are doing that. Tried a non-graded stakes after going wire to wire in its maiden special weight win. And that was its 3rd try to get the initial score. Does have a bullet work since trying that non-graded stakes race. And a return to its maiden winning form, I think, would be good enough here. Number 2, Shy. Top last race speed figure. And if you look through the past performance, really not all that far from going 3 for 3 to start off its career. And Charles, you mentioned the trainer Robert McLean wins at 23% on the turf to dirt angle, which is what I call an alpha angle for him, because I think he wins at about 15%, something like that overall. So any angle where he delivers excess performance is a plus. And finally, number 9, Afterneath. This one should compete for the lead. Going to drop from a non-graded stakes race. Unlike the Robert McLean horse making the turf to dirt switch, the question mark is for Afterneath on that surface flip. Trifecta for me, 257, 257 over to 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Race 6, just a few more to go, Mr. Charles. We hustle our way through the Keeneland card today in Lexington, Kentucky. How's the weather there, by the way? Charles, you're not too far from there.
No, not too far. I'm approximately about an hour and 40 minutes. The 6th race is a mile on turf again. Allowance of 110,000, non-winners of 1. Purse is 110. And this is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won a race other than maiden claiming or starter, or which have never won 2 races.
And then at mile on a turf, we talked about it. Surprisingly, early speed really does get the job done there. You want to certainly be best is post positions are 2 or 3. The rail has yet to win in 15 starts. Big discount if you're 4 and out. It just looks like you want to wear a 2 or 3 and put those horses in there no matter what. So a little bit of early speed in race number 6, Charles, particularly if it belongs to the 2 or the 3. Does look like Up and Up has some shot to be up in the front, but there are others that might be just as quick.
Yeah, well, the 7 has got a 32% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. I mean, there's a couple other speed horses in here that might push this one along a little bit, like the 3, for example. But, I think that the 7 will have the lead at the quarter pole. And when it comes to simulation odds, we have the 7 at 14-1, and you got 20-1 morning line. There's a little overlay. And that's all we got, really.
Yeah, all the AEs scratched out that looked like they had that edge on the value side. So maybe another race based upon the morning line odds where there's not going to be a heavy favorite in there. So maybe look for a price. Very interesting shape here, Charles. You got a barbell that's kind of really tilted to one side. So you got 100 pounds on the right arm and only 40 pounds on the left arm. So that's heavily tilted toward closers. In this case, should favor speed, especially at a distance where over 40% have gone wire to wire so far. So if that's the case, it looks to me like the 6 or the 7. Those 2, Whiskey Lullaby and Secret Statement. You might be making some secret statements if Whiskey is your lullaby. Those 2 should be up front. Of those 2, the 7 does look like it has the more late pace. That late pace number, Make the Boys Win, is tops up and down. So maybe the 3 and the 1 horse could be left arrow horses. They don't look like they'll be all that far off the pace here. So they can maybe close in on some of those front runners early. As far as our top total pace is concerned, Charles, I'm going to see that the 1, the 3, and the 7, they're 7 points clear of the next group. So maybe toss in the 5 and the 1, 3, 5. All those odd horses there, Charles, could be the ones that get the job done, and we have most of those in our picks.
Yeah, I mean, I like the 3 here. It ran second the last 2 times. Drops in class today. Grand Motion gets 20% going sprint to route. So this horse has definitely got that tactical speed to sit there like we just finished talking about. And then I don't know why it says pick 3, 6, 5, 2. It should be say 3. But anyway, my second choice there is the 1 horse. It ran bad last time at Kentucky Downs. You can't fault that horse for that. I mean, that's just like we said. You love it or you hate it. Track drops in class. Walsh gets 11% sprint to route. Tyler stays on board. And then the 4 horse has some technical speed. Bred for this. Got Pratt aboard. And then the 5. If you toss out that last one at Kentucky Downs, this horse drops in class today. Second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 30% with that at that angle, so it makes it in the mix. So I'm doing a try box with all 4 horses, and then I'm going to do a dollar pick 3. That was my last dollar of my my $100, and I'm just going to go with 3 here, and then the 5 in the next leg, and the 2 on the final leg.
Pick 3 of Integrity and a little bit of foreshadowing what Charles has up next. I have the 3 horse on top 2. That's my horse selection in race number 6, Up and Down. Really consistent performer, 1 for 1 at Keeneland, and its CV says expect a better effort in the second start after a layoff. The 5 horse Lilac Girl, much better fractions last out. Should be another one that improves in that second start after some time in the barn. We have an alpha angle here, too, for second starts off a layoff for trainer Jonathan Thomas, who normally wins at 25%. But the second time out, the barn, that number goes up to 30%. That's a pretty good number right there. Number 1, Make the Boys Wink. The rail stinks, but did run much better 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers last time out. And on top of that, at times can have some pretty strong late pace to boot. Number 9, Beautiful Navigator, drops from 4 consecutive stakes races at different levels, including 1 graded effort in there. And an opportunity to improve in the classic Charles' favorite handicapping angle. Third start after layoff. 135, 135, 135, 7, 9 is the trifecta for me. We have 2 races to go on this card, Charles. Short card today. Tomorrow, it's a little longer card at Keeneland. You and I will be back to do that again. 10 races tomorrow at Keeneland, a few minutes before post, just like today. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But today, right now, we're going to talk about race number 7, right? Are we on race number 7? Yes, race number 7.
Yeah, we're on race number 7. Yeah. Race number 7, mile on the 16th, allowance of 30,000, purse is for 52,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have started for a claiming price of 30,000 or less, and which have never won 3 races.
Yeah, mile on the 16th. We saw that, I think, in the opener, right? A mile on the 16th. Is that what we saw? Yes, we did see that in the opener. We saw the 1 horse get to the front and stay on the front. Didn't really see a whole lot of closing action. Man, 3 horse made a good move through the rail there to get into second place, I believe. So mile on the 16th should favor early speed. Normally does. 27% of the horses go wire to wire. That number went up after the 1 horse. There's a very strong rail bias. We saw that with the 1 horse again. So maybe hurry adds to that column. 2 and 3 play fair. 4 through 7 get a discount. 8 and out, a little bit of a bonus. So inside, outside speed in the first leg of the daily late double, Charles. There's 1 horse that seems like it has a lot of it.
A lot of it, which is, it's got the name in it, Speed Warning. The 4, 81% chance of getting the lead. I totally agree there. The big question is, will it be able to hang on? There's other speed in here, but I think a lot of them could be tactical. They could sit there and they could rate pretty good. When it comes to overlays, we have the 1 a little bit, 9-1, and it's 10-1 morning line. We have the 3 at 6-1, and we have 12-1 morning line. And then we have the 8, just under 2-1. We have 4.5-1 morning line. And then the 10, 8-1, and a 10-1 morning line overlay.
All right, that sounds pretty good on some of the overlays there. Our race shape for the second to last race of the day, pretty balanced. I'd say absolutely balanced in here. Now, you got a couple of Sesame Street horses in this 6-horse. Madison Loves Duke and the 7-horse, Long Crow. Those two, especially if the 6 can get the lead by itself, could become really confident. The early pace doesn't set that up. It looks like Speed Warning, as Charles mentioned, the appropriate name. 5-point advantage over the 2, Fighter Town. Those two are well above the 5-horse. So I'd expect the 4 and the 2 to get out to the front, really put some distance between them and the rest of the field early on. And they're coming home. That 7-horse, if it can be close coming out of the turn, absolutely has some good late pace in there, along with the 8. A lot of that speed in those middle horses, late speed. As far as our total pace looks, the 8-horse, Sant Antimo. And Speed Warning, that's Speed Horse, Inexorable. I don't know what the hell it says. Inexorable. Anyway, those 3 grading out as your top total pace horses in there. Charles, the 8, the 4, the 5, you have 2 of them in your picks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 5 here. This horse won last time out. Steve Asmussen gets 19% first after the claim. This horse will be closing at the end. With the speed that's in here, I think this is going to set up for this horse pretty good. The 6-horse. This horse ran third the last 2 times. Got a hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days. Sharp gets 17% second after a claim. And then the 8-horse ran second last time out. Got some tactical speed. Like I said, we have a lot of horses in here with that. And it fits very well in this race. And then the 2-horse, another one with some tactical speed. One last 2 times, well bet, both times also. The horse is going to be tough, but like I said, the 4 is going to be winging it, and the other ones will be pushing along. So I'm going to go with all 4 of my picks. Trifecta box once again.
Trifecta box. Charles is going to trifecta box Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow, too. It'll be trifecta Trent Thursday at Keeneland. I'm going to start off with the 10-horse. Master game. If any day is going to be its winning day, it's today. Trainer Grant Foster. Second starts after a layoff, wins at a whopping 32%. And it's a pretty good sample size, over 40 races. Overall, he wins at 15%. That's a double alpha angle. That looks like he looks like he targets second starts for the W's. Inexorable. Tied for the top last race. Speed Vigor in a smashing win last out. First off the claim for trainer Steve Asmussen. Does have a solid Keeneland workout for Asmussen after being claimed. Number 4, Speed Warning. Is likely to be your pace setter. Does have that really strong simulation chance to get to the front. We saw that also in the pace setup. And also has the second best Z-zone. I've seen that way too many times for that horse to get to the front and just hang out there because the other horses might not like the pace he sets. And then finally, number 2, Fighter Town is another one that should compete early on in the race. And much like the 4, there's not a whole lot of other speed behind it. And really not a lot of horses with just tremendous closing ability. They could be slow behind it and slower as they get to the finish line. Trifecta 4, 5, 10, over to 4, 5, 10, over to 2, 4, 5, 8, and 10. Race number 2, Charles. Looks like we have a little bit of time before race number 2. Is that about right? Well,
we got a little time. Yes.
So maybe we can at least set up race number 8 before race number 2 starts. In race number 8, Charles, we have a lot of maiden races today, but we also have a lot at this distance and surface.
Yeah, this one we have another mile on turf. Purse is $100,000. This is for fillies, 2-year-olds. Simple.
All right, so they are loading in race number 2. So we'll come back to race number 8 in just a moment. Let's describe what we see for race number 2. Looking at race number 2, Charles has the 2, 6, 3, 11 trifecta box. I'm going to do a pick 4 with the 2, 3, 8, and 11. From an odds standpoint right now, the 2-horse from 4-1 morning line down to your 2-1 favorite. The 3-horse that we both have is 8-1. Charles's 6-horse is 8-1 as well. The 8-horse is next up on our list at 12-1. And then the 11-horse one that we share as well is 7-2. So those are the odds on the horses that you and I picked. Is there anybody in here that we didn't pick that's getting some play? The 4 horse at 7-1 is getting some play, Charles, one that we don't have. The 9 horse at 9-1 is getting some play that we don't have, but kind of long odds on both of those. So I would suspect, fingers crossed, there's a good chance that one of us has the winner in our picks based upon the action on the ground, or maybe both of us, if it's the 2 or the 3 or the 11. And they're off in race number 2. Pretty good start for everybody in there as they pretty much go all wide all the way across the track. As they do separate, it does look like the 2 horse. It looks like the 3 horse is on the lead, but the 1, 2, 3, and I think that's the 9. They're 4 wide, going a pretty good clip, getting a good separation from the rest of the field right there. The 9 horse is going to run 3 wide all the way around the track in an opening quarter 22 in 22.14. Could be a little on the fast side. Maybe open it up for horses that have a little bit of closing ability. And then as they go through the turn now, the 2 horse continues to lead, but that 9 horse that's way wide is running a big race, Charles, to be able to run wide like that. 45 and 0.72 does look like the 9 horse right now does have the advantage. He's really going to take a shot here. 9 horse at 8-1 morning line. That horse is taken off, Charles, one that neither one of us have on this first-time starters. Yeah, he's running away from this field, Charles. What did we miss on that one?
I don't know, but I mean, you're right. This horse ran a tremendous race. I mean, for being wide. I mean, who's riding the 9 is the question.
9 horse.
I think they.
I read, huh?
Well, they saved a ton of horse. They saved it. That's all I can say.
Big win for Irad there on a price horse, the 9 horse. Canhantante, one that we didn't have. Horse did improve from its first starts to its second start. Flipped back to dirt after running on turf. And didn't really show much there. Was pretty well bet in its debut there on the dirt at Saratoga. October work at Saratoga, bland. September work at bland. I mean, just some good steady works for Todd Pletcher. Turf to dirt angle. I mean, just excellent race. One that we apparently didn't hit on there, Mr. Charles.
Well, I mean, it was a main race for one thing, but it was I think that was a rider's race on that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. You go 3 wide through the turn, you got to cover a lot of extra ground, and that horse just ran away from everybody. So that horse must really like the Keeneland course, Charles, or maybe it's just improved enough in that third start. Sometimes that happens with horses. They run a decent debut.
Yeah, they wake up, and once they wake up, they're tough to handle.
Yeah, especially on that. I mean, sometimes on that third race, they just pop. And that looks like that's what happened there. All right, the last race, Charles, we were setting it up. You went through all of the data, right? Or no, you just went through the conditions. So what do we see in the simulations for speed being important mile on the turf?
Okay, what we have here is the 10 horse has a 45% chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole. The 1 horse might have a say in that, which I think the 1 might have a say big time. I think it's going to be those 2 out there winging it. So we'll see how this turns out, but I think they'll both back up a little bit. When it comes to simulation odds, the 3 is 3-1, and you got a 15-1 morning line, and then you have the 8 at just under 2-1. We have a 4.5 morning line. We have the 9 at 8-1 and a 30-1 morning line. So there's some value there in a couple of horses.
Yeah, indeed. If they can come through. Our race shape for the final race of the day. Everything's kind of back weighted in here. A lot of horses that have not been close to the winner at the finish line. The 8 horse looked like a closer. 6, 7, and 10 they could get front. Curious to see what the 2 and 5 offer today. Early speed. It does look like Spiritual Lady, Butterfly Queen, Simply Striking. Well, a whole bunch of them are pretty tied up in here, pretty close to each other. Should be pretty competitive early out of the gate. Hell, who knows? Maybe one will run 3, 4 wide all the way around the track and blow them away at the end. Luz Divina, and that's the one with the most late speed, should be in a good pressure spot based upon the early pace numbers as well. Grading out as your top total pace horse, Charles, is Luz Divina, 5 points. So if everything goes according to plan, notwithstanding the first-time starters. Luz Divina could be a one-length winner. I think it'll win, Charles. You think it'll finish second. You like Mishka. I think you're on mute, Charles. Let me unmute you. I think you muted yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I've been muting it because I've been coughing. But the 2 is bred for this. You got a hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days. Cox gets 20% with first-time starters. So I'm going to go with that first-time starter here. But I have to admit the 6 is going to be tough to beat. Ran second last time. It has that tactical speed. Luis Saez is aboard. Can't fault any of that. So this is going to be tough. The 5 is bred for this also. Well, Walsh gets 11% with first-time starters. You got some solid, nice works. Tyler Gaffleon's aboard, so why not? And then the 10 is my final horse here. Drops in class, ran third last time out. Sharp gets 24% second time on the turf. So I'm going to do a trifecta box with all of my picks.
I got the 6 horse on top, as I mentioned. That is your top total pace horse by 5 points. Also ran the top last race speed figure over everybody else by 3 points. Both races that this horse has run have been good enough to win at this level and room to be better in the third start after a layoff. Or a third career start, excuse me. Araculis, the 8 horse, is our good friend Christopher Parmou's angle. Finished second last time out, so he just needs to beat 1 today. Closed at 6.5 furlongs in that race. The extra distant helps today after big improvement in race number 2 when moving from dirt to grass. So the second race on turf with extra length should be to its benefit. Number 2, your top choice, Mishka. First-time trainer for Brad Cox. That's a 20% angle for Mr. Cox. 1 out of 5 first-timers hitting the board right off the get-go. That's a pretty good number. Has good breeding, has solid workouts. And then finally, number 3, extremely gruntled. Was a tough call for me over the morning line favorite, that 10 horse Charles. But I think it has a little bit more upside, although the 10 is in my trifecta in the back end. 268 over to 268 over to 2, 3, 6, 8, and 10. That wraps it up for our day's Wednesday hump day picks in this 8 race card at Keeneland. Mr. Charles, in the opener, the 1 horse won, your top pick. Race 2, we whiffed with that 9 horse just smoking everybody. Who came in second in race number 2 there, Charles? The 11 horse, so one that we both had in our mix, came in there. Then the 4 horse, that was next, and then the 5. So that maiden race there escaped us a little bit. Hopefully, the remaining 6 don't escape us. We can build on our successes yesterday. Want to say thank you to Melvin Torres, Anna Rosario. Thanks for joining us, Anna. Philip Perkins, Cooper Money. I love that. Does that mean like DC Cooper Money? Are you related? And then Rebecca Pollard Rhodes and a friend. I think I can't read that handwriting there, but thanks to everybody who gave us a thumbs up on Facebook. We appreciate that. Also, they help us with their algorithm. If you can give us thumbs up on YouTube, we appreciate that too. Another thing you can do is hit the share button on YouTube. Put that on your social sites. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of 2024. We'd greatly appreciate that. That's our goal. You can help us get there. And then, of course, you can follow us on all of our social sites. You see them down there below. Horse Race, the number 2 day. Horse Race 2 day. Our good friend Swiss Army Sean puts a lot of great content up over there. Charles, before you and I get out of here to get back to Keeneland tomorrow, any final thoughts from you?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Well, as always, we certainly hope that no matter what you're doing for the rest of this hump day, that God's gifts rain down on you and that every single thing you do ends up in the
winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, Sean and Jamie tonight with Junior Alvarado, 8 p.m. Eastern, should be a fantastic course center. Have a great day.